And we are back. Pokemon Infinite Fusion, Hardcore Nuzlocke. Last episode, we got absolutely destroyed by Bruno, the second member of the Elite Four. So we are running it back. This is going to be the third and hopefully final attempt. All right, so one of the biggest changes I'm going to do between the second and third attempt here is I'm going to hold off on instantly fusing these Pokemon together. So just because I got the starter Charmander does not mean I have to instantly fuse it with whatever Pokemon we found on Route 1. So that way we can have a tad bit more variety and flexibility in the run. However, I do wait to get a full team and I decide to get our Paris, which we got from the Viridian Forest, and we fuse it with the Muku you get gifted to you in Viridian City. So that's going to be our first fusion. It looks really cool, and let's just keep it going. Our next fusion is going to be our starter here. We're going to take the Charmander and fuse it with the main key we just got on Route 4. Let's see what this looks like. It's going to be very similar to the Emboar typing in the firefighting, so we will take it. And that means it's time to take on Brock for this first gym badge here. We're going to have our Charmander, Mankey, and our Muku, and Paris combinations here to take on his two Pokemon. And that being the first one, the GOG comes down, the rock flying here. We're going to drop back with a Karate Chop. It is stab, but it's not super effective. However, the Gust does return with super effective damage. We drop to 21 HP, but we take down Brock's first Pokemon. That leads to his ace Dignix here, looking really good, but tanks the low kick because of the sturdy. Doesn't matter. Responds with a rage critical hit, but we drop back with another low kick, and we defeat Brock. Our next fusion is going to be Pidgey and Rattata, a Kanto classic here, and just look at him go. The Ratchi comes down. The beauty of a starter is that they're just so different. They're so unique. You only get one of them, so you hold them closer to the vest than you do with any other Pokemon. And that's where Jiggly Fairy comes in, you know, a very strong Pokemon, a nice fairy combination, and also someone who likes to hit 5 times on a double slap and Sharky falls. So that is every attempt. We have lost our Charmander. Well, really, our first attempt, we had Bulbasaur, but we got bodied by the Caterpie, that infamous moment. So we lose Bulbasaur, we lose Charmander, and we lose Charmander once again. I just cannot keep our starter alive, but thankfully, Ratchi comes in, does a couple rock smashes to drop the defense. We drop back with a stab quick attack. It doesn't do enough. Disarming Voice goes down and almost takes down our level 5 hero. We get massive XP, and man, this is brutal. We then take a few hours to level up the rest of the squad, and that means we're going to get a Zubat Eevee combination here, and that looks pretty cool. And we're doing just fine. We're doing fine without our starter. Absolutely no issues here. And that brings us to this scientist. We find out that Team Rocket is experimenting on these Pokemon, and Giovanni gets him to fight us here. The Coughmer comes down, that double poison with the Coughing and Grimer, and Ratchi gets absolutely bodied, hanging on with 1 HP and a Dream. We swap to our Nidoran here, who is not fused yet, but we do throw him in there in order to buy us some time, and he goes down and doesn't even get the chance to find a friend to fuse with, and that means we send Ratchi back in there for a bite. We go for the absolute flinch. We get 2 flinches in a row, but Ratchi follows suit and dies, and that means we have Ebat here, who does have the adaptability, but doesn't lean into it with a bite as we get slammed by a Sludge, barely holding on, and we've lost 2 more Pokemon. All right, we are hanging on with a thread. The ability not to get rare candies early in this game is making the grind very difficult, and that means we are putting a lot of our eggs into the Ebat here, the Zubat Eevee combination. We have the adaptability stab wing attack, but it doesn't matter if Nidato is just going to completely pimp slap us as our rival uses the super potion. We are holding out hope. Yes, the poison sting comes down. We do dodge the poison, thankfully, and that still leads us to 3 Pokemon on our rival side of things, but thankfully, Mantata is an offering to the new world. The Squirtscar comes down. Water Grass is weak to the wing attack, but we hold on with 6 HP, and this Ebat is flying high, is clutching so hard right now. We can upgrade to the Air Cutter, however, it does have the mischance, and I think we're pretty even on physical and special. The Abra comes down, and thankfully, I don't think he can do anything, and Ebat gets the sweep. All right, we are still operating with only 2 fusions. We do have Spearow and Abra in the back, but I would like to fuse them with something that they're more compatible with. So we are leaning in on this team of 2. The Jigglydean comes down. We open with Pukurus here, but we get hit with the Sing right off the bat. The Horn attack comes down, gets a critical hit, does massive damage, but we wake up and respond with a Spore, which is huge, so we can send into our pseudo starter here, Ebat. The upgraded Zubat Eevee is now the Golbat, and he is looking pretty interesting. He's very similar to our Fearow combination last time. He has that adaptability with the normal flying typing, and we make swift work of that Goldeen fusion as we drop back with a stab wing attack, and Misty is defeated. Let's go. That brings us to our next fusion, and it's going to be the Abra and Drowsy put together. We're just going all in on the Psychic typing, and hopefully can get a really heavy special attacker. And then Drowra upgrades into the Kadabra combination, and he's looking really silly. We then fuse Diglett and Meowth for a very fast, hard-hitting Technician boosted little guy here with the normal ground typing. It is now time for the rival fight on the SS, and here the team is starting to get pieced together with a couple more additions here. We lead with Drowbra, our Kadabra and Drowsy combo, level 22, looking pretty good as the Stab Psybeams come down, take care of our rival's first Pokemon. The Warsaw is here, the Ivysaur War Turtle combo, and he's looking pretty good with the Water Grass typing. We got to respect that. Now, Ebat is flirting close to the level cap, but we are still going to swap into her and see what she can do as she takes the takedown on the swap in, and we do have that adaptability once again with the Wing Attack coming in clutch, doing double damage. The Miracle Eye on the side here for our Kadabra fusion, but we don't need it. We don't want it as this third Pokemon comes down. Manecate here, the normal fighting type, just absolutely gets bodied by Ebat. Ebat drops back with a super effective bite and completely bodies the Kadabra. Our rival is defeated once again. As we prepare for Lieutenant Surge, we get a couple more fusions, and the first being the Drowbra upgrade into the Hypro. We get the Hypno Kadabra combination. We also get our Muku Paris upgrade into the Parasect fusion here. It's going to be the Sect, a very tanky water grass type Pokemon. And that also means we get the Meowlet upgrade into the Meow Trio, the 3 tiny little Meows coming out of the ground, and I think she's going to do amazing against Lieutenant Surge. Let's see if that is the case as we take on the third gym leader here. He's got his electric fusions. His Voltbee comes down. We send out our Meow Trio, who's got the Stab Technician bulldozes here doing massive damage. The Krabby fusion falls. The Piccolet comes down and is just a bonus. The Rybuzz, the Ace comes in with a massive quick attack critical, but it's no match against our bulldoze. The Meow Trio soars high and takes the third gym badge. We then fuse together our Magikarp and Omanite here and get a very funny looking water type fusion. We then get to see what the Omanite and Gyarados fusion looks like, and it's going to be the Omados. Now we just need to hit that level 40 to really capitalize on it all. Our Meow Trio then evolves into its final fusion, and it's going to be the Purge Trio, the triple Persian special here, still a Technician and still really fast. The next fusion on the menu is going to be between Spearow and Voltorb here. So let's see what this looks like. Potentially the electric flying typing in the Voltro, the very grumpy little crow. Very cool. But it doesn't stop until we hit level 30 for that Electrode upgrade, and it's going to turn into the Electro. Looks absolutely sick. It's going to have the Emolga typing, and he's just flexing with the sunglasses. I love it. We then get the Gifted Honedge and the Machoke, both relative to Rock Tunnel. We're going to fuse those together, and it's going to turn into the Honchoke, and that looks amazing. Our next fusion is going to be between Eevee and Growlithe here, so let's see what we are working with, and there he is, the good little boy. And then really wanting to use a Pokemon that has the Grass Fire typing, we go ahead and slap a Leaf Stone onto Growlithe here, and we get the Growlithe. It's going to be a Leafeon Arcanine as an end result. And since we have access to a Firestone, why not go ahead and see what we are working with here? Growlithe upgrades into the Arcanine, and I absolutely love it. That brings us to our big boss fight here against Giovanni in the Rocket HQ. Right before you fight Erica here, the Arnix comes down, probably rocking the Poison Rock or Poison Ground typing. We open up with Sect though, get the nice Spore off, and now we are paving the way for a potential Arcanine sweep here. That would be so fantastic. And you got to remember, Leafeon is a great sweeper on the physical side of things. As we lean into 2 Swords Dance, we are +4, and we have access to extreme speed, so priority is not going to be the problem. So +6 bite comes down. It's still not enough to kill the Arnix, though, given that massive defense stat from the Onix, but we do get hit with the Acid Spray, losing all of that special defense, so we're probably just going to pivot and try to rinse repeat. If we can clear this Snake, I don't think we'll have any issue with the rest of his team. So here we go. We're going to run it back. The Screech comes down. Now our physical defense is -2, but we still get the Spore off, and now we are looking really good. We could also just kind of mix and match. We don't have to all in on the sweep, as that Kangaskhan fusion with the Haunter is going to be very scary. So we swap into Hybrid here, and we are going all in for the Reflect. There we go, keeping our Leafeon ground potentially safer, or actually we're just going to go into the electro here. We're going to get the sunglasses on and we are going to flex because we also have light screen on the electro. So now slam comes down, does absolutely pitiful damage. And now that we're here, why not just lean into this even more as we double down with drill run and take down the snake? No problem, all over the place here, but we will do this. The Ryrus comes down, looking really good. I absolutely love that sprite. Here we go. We could go for another drill run, but we are susceptible to potentially a rot type move. I think Ryrus is actually ground ice, given the Lapras Rhyhorn fusion, but we are really flirting with this. We could just go for the drill run as it does have a high crit chance, and that's exactly what we do, but it's not super effective again because the ground typing as we get frozen from the stab of Ice Beam. That is super terrifying. So let's go ahead and mix and match, swap around here. We don't have a lot of great options against the ice typing here, but we do have Omados, who is almost a big boy Gyarados with that level 40 waiting for us in the wing as we swap back into PQ set. As the chip away comes down, we get the effect Spore on the swap, the poison adding up over time, but now we can't actually use Spore. So that might have backfired on us pretty bad. We also could set up with our PQ set given that defensive typing. The Ice Beam comes down, the Thief comes across the board, the poison ticking away, and this is an absolute bonanza. We started this fight trying to get a Leafeon sweep, but that's thrown out the window given all of these shenanigans, and now we're just looking at the team. What can we do? Because again, that Haunter slash Kangaskhan is just chilling in the back, and if we open up with a really bad position when it comes down, we're going to be in trouble as the chip away does massive damage to the Hypra. We do not have a great physical defense on this guy. The Reflect comes down, trying to keep us safe. The Ice Beam comes across the board. A little bit of heal and reprieve from the Oranberry. Does Giovanni heal from that range, or does he not? As we are still wondering what we should do. I'm looking back on this, I am playing like a little girl. I am terrified. I am scared. It's like I don't want to lose anybody, when really we should have just gone in guns blazing. We should have just risked it with the Archefion and just popped off, gone ham, but you know, I was too scared. And now we're in this situation where we might lose one, if not two, as we recover. The Ice Beam comes down. Thankfully, we dodge the freeze and the poison finishes the fusion off. That leads to the Hon-Kon, one of my favorite fusions here. The Shadow Ball comes down and we somehow live with 5 HP. We managed to get the Thunder Wave off and lock down the ace here. And now we are in prime position to swap into somebody who can actually do something. We send out our Frozen Bird here and the paralysis comes down, potentially trying to thaw out, but we cannot. The Reflect comes down. We thaw out just in time. We get a nice fall off with a boosted from the gem, but the Shadow Ball comes in and we lose Electro for absolutely nothing. This is scandalous. This is a disgrace, but we end up losing a Pokemon anyway. We throw in Archefion to finish the fight as it was supposed to begin that way. My gosh. And with that silly loss, we're just going to call the video here. As always, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it, and I will catch you on the flip. Peace.